We have a couple of things to talk about, and I'm gonna just put this on now because both of them are wins for us. Sorry, Penguins fans, but I have to include this because I just did not have the time, and I need to talk about this first. So if you want to skip ahead to the game review, which is gonna be short, go to the timestamp that's on the video because I don't know what time that's going to be at. The NHL trade deadline and Vegas with their smallest deadline yet, because even the year that we missed the playoffs, we had the whole Dodonov trade canceled thing. We acquired Matthias Janmark, which was kind of a quiet one, but it was still, I think, bigger than, especially with the context of everything else going on around it. And so this honestly felt like the most tame NHL trade deadline from a Vegas Golden Knights fan perspective that in the last, 8 years. But the Vegas Golden Knights made one move, and we reacquired Reilly frickin' Smith, original misfit. He's the first player in VGK history to have been on our team, leave our team, and then come back to our team. That wasn't through, send up, call down things with the minor leagues. Like he's the first person to be off of our books after being on them that came back onto our books. And so, welcome back, original misfit. Right? I got something for the occasion. I do eat some healthy stuff, fruit, the apples, mostly just apples. Originally, we traded Reilly Smith to the Pittsburgh Penguins, which that weird game for his first game to be right after the trade deadline, this one. We got a third back from that, and then we used that third in the Noah Hanifin trade. It was a conditional third that would become a second if Vegas won a round, which I guaranteed that we'd do, and then we didn't end up doing that. And then when we reacquired him, we used a third that we acquired from the Tomas Hertl trade, so one of the Sharks thirds that they sent to us, which should be closer to a second than what the third was that we sent to Calgary. That was originally ours, actually. So that we acquired from Pittsburgh. So moving up in that draft order. So, and Brendan Brisson, who, we had to send him because he was wearing the number 19. And so instead of just taking it back forcibly and moving him back to the number 24, he needed a change of scenery. He was not panning out with us, and I didn't see him overtaking any of the positions on our roster, which is surprising because, and no offense to these guys, but I was really excited about Brisson heading into this season. I thought that he would be able to have the opportunity to pop off. And he played in 9 games, zeros across the board, and just never really lived up to the first round pick that he was, which, hey, not all first round picks are going to succeed. It's, I think, an average of 65% of them per year, which means there's 35% that don't. And usually we're picking at the end of those first round picks. And there's the thing that went around where we have 0 first round draft picks ever selected in Vegas Golden Knight history, with the exception of Trevor Connolly, who we selected last year. But we don't have this this coming up first round pick or next year's first round pick to Noah Hanifin and Tomas Hertl. So yeah, screw them picks, right? But Reilly Smith on both Pittsburgh and New York didn't really find his footing either. He was a half a point per game player this season. Decent. And he does well on the penalty kill. He knows the systems. He has built-in chemistry with William Karlsson and a lot of the players that were still here from the Cup run. It's reasonable to suggest that there shouldn't be that much of an adjustment period. He didn't get any points tonight, unfortunately. But wearing his number 19 again, and we're just Vegas in general. This is the happiest that the fan base has felt in a while. Not because we've been doing bad recently, but it was so heartwarming. Good guys, Vegas, right? But it was an extremely quiet deadline outside of that, which is unfortunate from the perspective of the West is completely stacked. I mean, Dallas acquiring Mikko Rantanen and Colorado getting Brock Nelson, which were 2 of the biggest forward targets this trade deadline. Winnipeg acquired Drieger, they swapped goalies there, but they also acquired Brandon Tanev and Luke Schenn, who is a solid defenseman. And then Edmonton also acquired Wallman, the defenseman from the Sharks, who was doing really well this season. He is offensively minded and not very good at defense, which You know, I do not understand the philosophy of Edmonton, like goalies or shut down defensemen. No, screw it. Just be who you are, you know? It got you within one game of the Stanley Cup last season, but you know, the Kings, I can't even remember. Their deal was so low key in the whole deadline. And just in general, looking at what's going to happen during the playoffs in the West, it's completely unpredictable about what's going to happen. Because the Stars and the Dallas, the Stars and the Avs might face each other in the first round, which would immediately take out one of the top guns in the West, which is another argument for the 1v8 playoff seeding. Anyway, I'm so far off. It's not off topic, but I'm just spewing information about the trade deadline, right? When really the focus is on Reilly Smith. And we got him, so Pittsburgh retained 25% when they sent him to New York. It was like 1.75 million or something. And then New York retained 50% when they send him to us. So we have him at a cap hit of 1.875 million for the rest of the season, which is great. Not that we used more cap space to acquire anybody else, especially because Shea Theodore might be going to LTIR, but William Karlsson can come back, and honestly I don't really see us having to use that, which it's funny how the rest of the league's okay with it now that their team's using it. Funny. So we got him at like $3.2 million retained off of his $5 million deal, and what we essentially gave up was Brendan Brisson, who was not really increasing his trade stock. So I don't know. You can see it as we gave up a first for that, which is a lot. Poor asset management. But honestly, I don't know what else we were going to be able to do and get out of Brisson without including a package of other better guys in our system that we don't really want to give up because we don't have a farm system right now. There were rumors that Vegas was in on everyone, and that was pretty much it. There were rumors about Marchand, about Rantanen, and even Erik Karlsson at one point, but I didn't see any of this stuff happening other than Marchand. I thought could have been possible. And Florida only gave up a conditional second for him that turns into a first if he plays in 50% of the playoff games that they play in this so far. So like, essentially a first, you know, because Marchand's probably going to do that. I don't know. That's not much to give up for a rental and Brad Marchand though. And now you have Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Bennett all on a line together. Like, that's gross. That's oh geez. But it is so. It was. I watched an interview of his return, you know, and he had mentioned how he felt right at home. Like, nostalgia crept in every time he came here, even for the game he didn't play in, and to receive the standing ovation then meant a lot to him, and he and his wife were super excited to come back, and they have 2 daughters, and just having their family back into the community. And I would immediately extend him, even I don't know what he's looking for, but 3x3 with the cap going up to what it is, and just have him sign like a retirement contract where he's with us for the rest of it with a full no move. I would do that in a heartbeat. Again, off-season problem. I hope we keep him after this. Are you kidding me? Especially with William Karlsson out right now, like him shoring up the penalty kill and being able to chip in when he can. The last goal he scored was the cup-winning goal in Game 5 against the Panthers. It's just a feel-good thing, so that even though we didn't do a lot, really much at all, this trade deadline, we did something that was going to make most Vegas Golden Knights fans happy. But in his interview, I'm off topic again, he had mentioned how in the first he thinks he was recognized more in the first 5 minutes after getting back and landing on this plane at 1:30 yesterday than he did in the entire year and a half before. And that's not necessarily ragging on the Rags or the Penguins, because the thing is with Vegas, it's Golden Knights and then Raiders, and then that's pretty much it. But there's a drop off in like local popularity with the team. But in New York and in Pittsburgh has the Steelers, the Pirates, and the Penguins, yeah. But you know, and the Rangers, New York, the Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, Nets, Knicks, like just so many different other franchises, when hockey, especially for the local popularity, hasn't grown as much as what those other leagues are at currently. it's a lot. So to be recognized as a Vegas Golden Knight in Vegas would like as a hockey player would be more likely in Vegas than probably most other American markets, unfortunately. Welcome back, Smitty. You know, it's great. And then if we had gotten Marchand, it would have been, you know, the Marshy Smith and Carlson line that we could do, but anyway, didn't end up happening. We're back up to 4 original misfits on our team. That's great. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins game. So I'm gonna rotate this out because, yeah. And the Vegas Golden Knights win 4-0 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And this game in general was, like Pittsburgh had a lot more shots. They had momentum and stuff, but Samsonov had a great game and he is shutout, right? That's a great game, no matter what happens in the game. But also Vegas really opportunistic. The puck bounces went their way. Mark Stone, an incredible game. At 7:02 remaining in the first, which 7:02, you know, welcome back REILLY Smith to the 7:02. Anyway, Eichel wins the draw, Whitecloud on the point, slaps it on, it goes off of Ned, bounces out to Mark Stone, who no-look backhand passes it back into Tanner Pearson, and Tanner Pearson gets it on net. Ned gets his blocker on it, but not enough, and it's in the back of the net, 1-0 Vegas. That pass from Mark Stone was filth. Disgusting, and the finish was great too from Pearson. Pearson having a great year, and when we've talked about, I'm going back to the trade deadline remarks, potential lineups for this team when everyone's healthy, if everyone gets healthy. The rotating 3 forwards that we have off were between Saad, Pearson, and Olofsson, and I was probably leaning towards Pearson, but I honestly don't think so anymore. Like the more that I thought about it, the more I realized how recently he's been really good, and you want to play the people that are on it. And so I'd probably take Olofsson off, not knock on him, it's just that he hasn't found as much success recently as Saad or Olofsson, Saad or Pearson, who both scored in this game. Into the second period, about 5 minutes in, there is a play where Pittsburgh tries to clear the puck, and they do out of the zone, but Vegas and Mark Stone create a turnover in the neutral zone. And Mark Stone with a beautiful feed through traffic over to Ivan Barbashev, who just got onto the ice, streams in, has an open lane, takes the lane and shot, fires, it's in the back of the net, 2-0 Vegas. Into the third, Pittsburgh clears the zone, but McNabb gets the puck, sends it off the boards up to Hurdle, who's in the neutral zone still, but he touch passes it right to Saad, who streams into the zone, fires it on, it's in the back of the net, 3-0. Both Barbashev and Saad's goal were eerily similar, as in they were shot from pretty far out, but they go in kind of cleanly past Ned, which is not something you want from Pittsburgh. You also want better defense. I don't know. If you're Pittsburgh, I don't know what you want, honestly, and I don't think you guys know what you want. Like, no offense to fans, because just some of the moves they made were kind of puzzling. They were able to flip Luke Schenn, which was great for them. But I just was kind of puzzled by some of the moves that they were making. Anyway, so it's 3-0 Vegas. And that Saad goal is one of the ones that he would typically score against us when he would score against us before on Colorado or St. Louis. The type of goal that I've seen him score against us. And so seeing him score one of those for his third goal as a Vegas Golden Knight was just to make it 3-0. Less than a minute later, Vegas in their defensive zone and get the puck. Hanifin passes it up to Stone, and they go on and they skate out, and they're like, we're gonna go on a mission, and they go up the ice, and just the most crisp passes back and forth, tape to tape, from Stone to Eichel, who skates into the zone, drops it off for Pearson, straight over to Stone, and then he buries it, and it's 4-0. He pulls up and does a quick move and buries it. 4-0 Vegas. And that was pretty much the game. Vegas was able to shut it down after. Pittsburgh wasn't really able to generate a ton, and it was just a clean, dominant win for the Vegas Golden Knights. One where REILLY Smith unfortunately did not get a point, and everyone wanted it, but his welcome back was huge. The ovation that he got from the crowd when they announced him, and Bruce Cassidy put him in the starting lineup. Bruce knows, like, he's so good. I love this head coach. Are you kidding me? From him starting the Misfits, the like 5 of the 6 in the Stanley Cup Game 5 on home ice, you know, and gave them a chance to, you know, just now putting Smith in the starting lineup for tonight. He didn't have to do it, but he did, and love and appreciate that about Bruce Cassidy. So that's the Vegas Golden Knights trade deadline and the Pittsburgh Penguins game 62. And just a really good, like, 36 hours for Vegas fans. We are now 1/6 of the last 7, I think, and are just trending upwards, which is the perfect time to do it. You know, Edmonton's been struggling recently, and that's been good. If we're able to continue on this pace, win the division, that might help us because Edmonton will have to face LA in the first round, most likely, and then we'll face the winner of that, which will probably be Edmonton. Sorry, LA. We'll face Vancouver or Minnesota, likely, in the first round, unless, you know, Utah, St. Louis, I guess Calgary's still in it, can squeak their way up there, but realistically, I feel like that would be the way. I would rather not face LA in the first round just because they match up well against us, in my opinion. But getting too far ahead of myself, we still have 20 games left in the regular season, and I'm excited. Are you? Let's go. Let's go. Jesse Blake on the Steve Dingle's podcast network, the SDPN, he flat out says, like, Vegas is still my pick in the West. I know they didn't add the most flashy of moves, but our 6-man decor is just dominant. I personally would probably have Dallas ahead of us, but I still think we could go toe-to-toe with them, especially if they go and have a battle with Colorado right before, you know? Or Winnipeg, or whoever, honestly. I think having to go through Winnipeg and Colorado to get to us in the Western Conference Finals would put us in a very good spot. But we'll have to see what happens in the next 20 games. This is the final stretch, the final 5th of the season, 20% left, 80% done. Let's go. And hey, Pittsburgh, I know I would be just as sick as you guys would be about everyone mentioning trade Crosby to Colorado, but I mean, trade him to Vegas? Part of me was really hoping that we'd be able to acquire Marc-Andre Fleury. It was a pipe dream, I know. But, like, just for sentimentality reasons, you know, but alas. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's nightly review, Game 62's and the Vegas Golden Knight perception of the trade deadline. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.